Welcome to Fraggle Talk, the unofficial Fraggle Rock podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we cover Fraggle Rock, Back to the Rock, episode by episode, along with the talented producers, performers, writers, and builders who help put it all together. I'm your host, silly creature Joe Hennis. Today we are talking about episode 12, Into the Trash, in which the trash heap gets sick and Boober goes dumpster diving. We have three exciting guests today, and with their powers combined, they make up the trash heap herself. First up, we have a puppeteer whose work can be seen on It's a Big, Big World, Splash and Bubbles, and Lazy Town. On Back to the Rock, you've seen her as Henchy Fraggle, Ma Gorg, and 1/3 of Marjorie. We are extremely pleased to welcome Aymee Garcia to the podcast. Hi, Aymee.
Hi, guys. So nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. So glad that you're here. Our next guest is one of the stars of Sesame Workshop's Helpsters, as well as shows like Miss Persona and Princess Sparkly Butt. I just wanted to say that on a podcast. On Back to the Rock, she is the body of Ma Gorg and 1/3 of Marjorie as well. We are extremely pleased to welcome Ingrid Hansen to the podcast. Hi, Ingrid.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for bringing your own theme music. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Our third guest has been seen on CBC Kids Studio K, Canada Crew, and starred in the Canadian cast of Avenue Q. On Back to the Rock, they perform Brio and Melody Mergle, and they are the final third of Marjorie the Trash Heap. We are extremely pleased to welcome Kira Hall to the podcast. Hi, Kira.
Hi. Thanks
Hello.
for having me.
Of course. What a treat to have all three pieces of the trash heap here. I hope you don't mind me calling you trash on this podcast.
No, it's
Keep
an
life.
honor. Honor and a pleasure.
Call myself
Wonderful.
that often enough. We're good.
So let's start with how each of you got started here on Fraggle Rock. I'd love to know more about how you auditioned and what the process was like for you. Let's start with you, Aymee.
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of an intense, tough audition. A lot of vocal audition and very like they were really trying to fine tune specificity out of every character, which I loved. And just getting certain colors in our voices and stuff. I think that for the most part they knew that all of us were puppeteers, so that aspect they knew that we were able to do and could build on. But yeah, that was the vocal aspect of it was a big part of the audition for me.
Interesting. Ingrid, did you find the same? Were you doing colors with your voice in your audition?
Yeah. And I filmed myself doing a bunch of like movement and dance with a toque pulled down over my eyes. So for American audiences, that's a knit cap. But I basically blindfolded myself and did a bunch of dance and like creature movement and like clown movement, big kind of bouffant clown movement, and video sent that in because as the Gorgs you can barely see, and so being inside the body of my Gorg, I was just like, I'll just blindfold myself and dance and send that in. So yeah, I remember doing that on my porch.
So you knew already that you were auditioning to be a Gorg. This wasn't just like we want you to play some sort of character, or we want you in the background, and maybe we'll have you playing someone. Like you knew this was going to be like a full body movement piece beforehand.
I don't think I knew, but I knew there were Gorgs in the piece, and I had experience doing big full body walk around puppets with Helpsters with playing Heart. So yeah, I think that was kind of the trajectory. I was like, oh, how do I show them this without having a giant puppet? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that sounds really challenging. I have a lot more questions about Ma Gorg that we will get to in a moment. But I do find that kind of stuff absolutely fascinating and terrifying as well. I don't know how I would do it if it were me.
Oh yeah, that's you kind of gotta love the thrill of being being confined. I don't know. That's
of having a toque over your eyes to play a giant Gorg.
Yeah.
Kira, what was your audition like?
Well, Henson didn't know me at all. I kind of lucked out. A friend of mine, fellow puppeteer, Jason Hopley, said to me back in the fall before they started filming Fraggle, hey, do you think you might be able to go to Calgary for like 4 months for a thing. I think you'd be good and I want to recommend you. I'm like, oh, okay. And so then I got an email asking me to audition. So we did I think there were a couple of scripts and then a song we had to do some choreography to. And then the next stage was sending in some voice auditions like Aymee was talking about. You got some breakdowns for the characters and got to go through those. And then I got a nice email saying I got to go hang out with a bunch of other puppeteers and great people in Calgary.
What a gift to just
Tell me about it.
get to live in Fraggle Rock for 3 or 4 months.
Oh, it
must have been
fantastic.
incredible. Now we'll talk more. Like I said, we'll talk more about Mount Gorg. We'll talk more about the Trash Heap for sure. But some of you have played specific, like, named characters that you can really kind of own as your own with this new iteration of Fraggle Rock. Aymee, for example, you played Henchy Fraggle. Did you? What was that audition like, or what was that selection process like to get to play a character that really gets a good amount of screen time throughout the season?
Yeah, well, and I have to admit, I was not a big fan of the way that she was sort of portrayed in the original, because she kind of gets beaten quite a bit, and I knew that they were wanting to shift that, and so it was, I liked that we were kind of figuring it out on the fly a little bit. It's just like, okay, well, if that element is taken away, then what else could she be? So she became just like kind of like this annoyed assistant who kind of like just knows more than the rest of the group, but just has to stay quiet because she's an underling, right? But the audition process for that was just a lot of playtime and a lot of, like, you know, getting to sort of throw out ideas and incorporate ideas that were already sort of in place. So yeah, it was fun. I was really proud to have been thrown the gauntlet of her and get to play.
That's pretty cool. And Henchy is an interesting character because this version of Henchy, like you said, is very different from the original series. Henchy is a rare case of an adult Fraggle who, like, as opposed to like the Fraggle 5, who are basically kids, an adult Fraggle who's also really smart and capable. Almost, well, it's weird that you would think that the character wouldn't necessarily fit in with everyone else in Fraggle Rock because of that, because they're so different. Did you find that challenging at all, or was it just like you're just going to play up the exasperation of the whole thing?
Yeah, because it's the, you know, you kind of sort of like sit into the personality of it all. It's just like, you know, of course the personality like that would exist. You know, I know that, like, because we all got to play background Fraggles as well, and we were real, like, we all dove deep into those personalities of those background Fraggles and their lives. Like, they were like full lives that those background Fraggles were having. And like, I feel like that Henchy was just sort of like a featured, you know, like a little bit of a featured background Fraggle, as the Fraggle 5 were kind of always the, you know, the main idea of the show. But yeah,
I love that, especially because that means that we could easily have some Fraggle spin-offs with all these background characters. Just shift the camera a little bit to the left.
I want to see a Pokey spin-off. Pokey spin-off, please. That's what I want.
Oh, well, yes. I mean, that's the gimme. That's your Frasier right there, is to get Pokey. You move Pokey to Seattle, give him a talk show, radio talk show.
His roommate is the Grizzard.
Yeah.
Which would be challenging because Kanye would then have to, like, jump back and forth, but it'd be fun.
He would do it. He could do it. He could.
Oh yeah.
Kanye could do anything. He could do anything.
Yeah. Kira and Aymee, you both, at least according to the Muppet Wiki, starred in different versions of Avenue Q. Did you bond over this when you were on set?
I don't think we even talked about it.
Like this? No.
You're on Avenue Q.
I was Kate Monster and Lucy in the first, like, Canadian-based production in Toronto. Aymee, who did you play?
I had a very interesting contract because I was hired on as assistant stage manager, like, you know, thinking, oh, I'll never go on. These people, they're so healthy. They got this. I went on for everybody, including characters I really didn't know. Like, I remember like my the horror was me putting on the overalls to go on as Gary Coleman, like not know, because the actress had gotten sick, and I was like, I've done the understudy rehearsals. I've read the lines. I think I know this. I was pulling my hair back, and we had just called in the understudy to leave a restaurant that she was currently working at to come in and take over mid-show. It was those kind of things that job entailed. That's what I'm saying. Like, before we started the podcast, I was saying that, like, I would just take a shower and show up to work and not really know what I was going to do that day. So yeah, that was my contract on cue. So I covered everybody a little, it was, which was fun, but
like was that thrilling? Like, did you get a high off that, or was it like, no more for me, please?
I think it was like the beginning stages of my adult anxiety. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, like, yes, and sure. And then afterwards, I was just like, man, I wish I could have gone on. I would have loved to have tried to sing that song. Tried to do Loud as the Hell. That would have been great.
Oh my God, you would have killed Loud as the Hell.
But I was like, I kept thinking the audience is going to be real mad when they see me walk on that stage. You know what I mean? That was always like, that's not Gary Coleman at all. That's not the woman that we just spent half a show seeing. So yeah, no.
That's amazing. Well, if we get more Fraggles, then I think we're gonna have to get some behind the scenes footage of the two of you singing some of the Avenue Q songs with the Fraggle puppets.
Oh yeah.
I think everyone will be okay with that, right? There's no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Really
sure,
clean.
We won't get in trouble for that.
No, not at all.
Appropriate.
All right, so let's talk about this episode, Into the Trash. This is, as we mentioned, it's a Trash Heap centric episode. It's about as centric as we could get with the Trash Heap because we're right in the middle of her. But this episode starts in Doc's workshop, where Doc is continuing her science experiment to develop a plastic-eating bacteria. She says if she's successful, she's going to get to name the bacteria, which is exciting. She's thinking Munchie. That's a pretty good name for a bacteria that munches. Unfortunately, the heater on her tank has broken because a tiny little screw has fallen out, which has ruined the entire experiment unless she can get it replaced right away, but that screw is very, very tiny. Later on, we check in with them again, and Doc asks Sprocket to breathe his hot dog breath on the tank to keep it warm, and he kind of like starts like on the tank. It doesn't work, and she says, I'm glad nobody saw that. And then Sprocket does this great take where he looks around and then he looks directly down the barrel of the camera and shrugs. I thought that was a nice gag.
My brother's dog gets upset and excited every time he sees Sprocket on the screen.
Really?
He recognizes the puppet as a real dog. And even just
so
the
do
sound.
He is a real dog.
Well, I mean, of
right?
course, but like he is a dog. Who would know dog better than a real dog? It's trippy, and even just hearing the sound of Sprocket barking sets him off, and he starts barking, and then it's just Johnny Tartaglia like going rrr, 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 but it's I think it's a test.
That's a great litmus test. Mm-hmm. That's a great litmus test for like is this a real dog or not? I mean, we've said many times on this podcast that Sprocket is a real dog. Sprocket, like, there's no question in my mind. Oh yeah. There's not three people underneath that thing puppeteering him. Like, he's real. Were any of the three of you involved with these Doc and Sprocket sequences?
Later in the episode, I got to have my brief appearance in Doc's workshop with Cotterpin helping out Donna Kimball. Yeah. But I'm sure we'll get to that later.
We will, yes. Hold that thought. But yes, that's very exciting. Aymee,
my very first day on set, I was just sort of like, your first day on set, you're just sort of like taking it all in. And Johnny was like, hey, can you come under here and just help with Sprocket's tail? And I was like, I was so excited. So it's like, it's one of the first episodes. I can't remember which one it was, but it's like, it's an overly excited tail wag. And they're like, Aymee, can you just dial the wagging down a little bit? So it was
like, I can't. I'm channeling everything through this tail, and that's nothing but excitement. Yes.
And I was like, I was my happiest just doing Sprocket's tail. I was so excited. Yeah.
That's cool. That's a dream. Just to be Sprocket's tail. Wow.
Right.
Down in Fraggle Rock, the tensions are high. This is our penultimate episode of the season, and all these different things have been piling up on the Fraggles. The waterfall is down to a trickle. The doozer constructions are everywhere because nobody wants to eat them. The pond is full of goo. The Murgles have all been relegated to Boober's lawn tubs. It's a lot, making me think this is probably not the best episode for someone to come into cold. Like to watch this and to suddenly be thrown into all this chaos, not understand where any of it came from, which is a weird thing for Fraggle Rock, because normally the old show was completely episodic and not serialized like this one. When the three of you were filming these episodes, did you feel like there was any sort of a challenge to kind of have to jump into the beginning of an episode and reestablish what we're doing, where we are, as opposed to just starting fresh every single week? You're all thinking, which makes me think that this was not a problem, and you were just down to puppeteer whatever they told you to.
I mean, that's more what the writers have to plan out,
Sure.
But for us on the day there is so much continuity to the Rock. The place and all the characters are so well established that I don't think that wasn't necessarily a challenge on set, but it was definitely really exciting to read all the scripts and get to follow and track the journey of the arc and see the arc through. And yeah.
Great.
And just like day wise for us too, there would be days when we would be shooting more than one episode, like where we would be shooting different parts of. It's not like when you shoot an episode, you don't really go from beginning to end. You'll shoot what is lit, what portion of the set is ready, or how many puppeteers you have to be able to pull off a certain segment of a scene. So yeah, continuity wise for us, at least for me, when I finally saw everything cut together, I was just like, yeah, this was just as epic as we read it. Because in the moment you're just like, oh, did we get everything that we needed? You know what I mean? Like you kind of get a little anxious, wondering if all the pieces are actually going to be there. And then when you finally do see them cut together, it's like, yeah, it was that and then some. So it was really satisfying.
So I'm curious about, and we'll talk about this more in a bit, but scenes like the trash heap, for example, which I assume, I know it was a separate part of the set, and once you get the puppet up and it's well lit and all that, you're probably doing 2 or 3 episodes of just trash heap all at once, but the tone might shift from script to script. So was that a challenge to have to kind of jump back and forth and kind of remember, okay, so what was happening just before this one and after this, and now we're jumping to a completely different plot where they might have completely different, mood and attitude and feelings?
I mean, it was challenging, but everybody was just, we were guided along the way. I mean, it was at least, it never ever felt like, okay, and just go, you know what I mean? It was definitely a lot of like, this is what's coming next. This is what came before. This is the tone that we're looking for. We didn't quite get it. Let's go back and try it in a different way, or from a different angle, or everything was double and triple checked, which I so very much appreciated.
Yes. Well, it definitely comes across in the final product because it's seamless. I would have never known that you didn't just do one at a time straight through.
Wow.
So Boober has been making soup. That's his job. Yeah. He's the soup guy. Among the soups he's making are seaweed soup for the Murgles, pumpkin bisque for the Craggles. He's making a baby corn soup for the Doozers. And
which is adorable, like,
yeah,
right?
Just imagine them eating little baby corn. that we find out that's what Doozers eat, is baby corn. It's so cute.
It is adorable, and I mean, just the fact that like I never thought about what Doozers eat, because I mean, I assume it was some sort of radish something, but I guess Boober makes them treats. What a nice thing for him to do in a tiny little cauldron.
Mm-hmm.
And the world's oldest Fraggle and the Wise Council emerge, and they need Boober's help. It's because they're out of radish noodle soup. So that's the 4th soup here. A lot of soup. Now, Ingrid, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you perform the world's oldest Fraggle in this episode?
No, Frank performed World's Oldest Fraggle, but there were several points where I had to step in and for the long shots and stuff and be the World's Oldest Fraggle when Frank was in Boober. So yeah, there's some points, but all the meaty parts, like the close-ups and things, were usually always Frank. There were some I got to do a couple little bleeps and bloops, which was so fun. I mean, that character is just such a bonkers weirdo, and he'll just like takes over your whole body, and he's like always flipping his beard. And I remember there was one point where director we call him Rosentush, John Rosenbaum. He called, okay, Frank, can you get the World's Oldest Fraggle to start a little earlier in the scene? And I was like, I made him call me Dr. Muscles. The World's Oldest Fraggle made the director call him Dr. Muscles. I was like, it's not Frank out here. It's Dr. Muscles to you. Okay, Dr. Muscles. But anyway, sorry, that's a tangent. I love that.
Look, whatever gets you into the character, I'm here for it. And we're going to add to the World's Oldest Fraggles Muppet Wiki page that he is also known as Dr. Muscles.
Dr. Muscles! Yes!
It's canon now. It's canon. You said it on a podcast. Now everyone knows. That's incredible. And there's a great photo of you performing the World's Oldest Fraggle, Ingrid, on the Muppet Wiki, which is why I assumed that you were performing him in this episode.
Yeah, well, a few little steps in. Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah. That's got to be one of the most fun characters. Those characters who can literally just say anything and it's in character. Like, what fun. What a great gift. So Boober is disappointed that he is the soup guy and he doesn't have real responsibilities. He really wants to help because there's so much going wrong here in Fraggle Rock. So Gobo is helping with a traveling Matt postcard, and Boober replies to him, "You just go right for it, don't you?" That's good line reading. He is backstage at a concert, and he takes the stage. The audience cheers, and it turns out they're not cheering for him. They are cheering for Dave Grohl, celebrity human Dave Grohl, right behind him, because they're at a Foo Fighters concert. Which is like, it's a really interesting balancing act here that we don't normally have humans aside from Doc on Fraggle Rock at all. And here we have not just a human or a series of humans, but celebrities, which is completely alien to Fraggle Rock. But I don't know about you. I feel like it works in this context.
Oh,
how did you
absolutely.
all feel about it? Yeah,
absolutely. And like of all the bands, like, right, the Foo Fighters. I love that it's like such a symbiotic like love, like Fraggles. You know what I mean? Like that we love them, they love us. That sort of that was a lovely thing to sort of just
if you could pick a celebrity who's like down to earth, down to clown, just gonna lean into the silliness of the moment and not be weird about it, it's going to be Dave Grohl. Like, I thought they nailed the tone.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love the sequence. It could have been done so poorly, and it was not. So yeah, I thought it worked. I have a few interesting observations about this. We'll see if they're interesting as I say them out loud. I tried to do a quick head count of how many people were in the audience, and I counted around 50 or 60 extras, which can you imagine going to a Foo Fighters concert and you're one of only 50 people, like this intimate little club? That would never happen they're probably selling out like Madison Square Garden right now, tens of thousands of people. But like, you'd have
to set that up in like a jazz club with candles on the table or something if it was a
right,
50 person.
Yeah. Amazing.
Oh, man, how fun.
Also, Dave Grohl, I did a little research, is one of, as far as I know, only 3 celebrities who have completed the trifecta of having worked with the Muppets, Sesame Street, and Fraggle Rock.
Icon.
So, because not many celebrities have worked with Fraggles at all. So, that really narrows it down. Dave Grohl, as most people remember, was in the 2011 Muppets movie. He was also in the 2015 Muppet sitcom. And on Sesame Street, he sang the main theme song for their 50th anniversary road trip special series of episodes. And now, of course, here on Fraggle Rock. I am curious, not that, I assume that you're not the Muppet fanatics that I am, but can you guess as to who the other celebrities might be?
Oh gosh.
What? Oh no.
Rita Moreno? No, Rita. No, Rita Moreno.
That would be cool. I would love to see Rita Moreno with a Fraggle, but I don't think she has.
Keenan, who's the guy who played the voice of Jack Hammer?
Kenan Thompson.
Kenan Thompson.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's ever worked with the Muppets. I think he's worked. I feel like he's been on Sesame Street without having looked it up, but I don't think.
Okay, so it's Muppets, Sesame, and Fraggles.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't even know any celebrities' names.
Mark Hamill.
How cool would that? No, I wish. Yeah, can we get Mark Hamill on season 2 of Fraggle Rock, please?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna work on it. You know who I was really working?
Who's that?
Was Jason Momoa.
I knew that was gonna come up.
I had to bring it up.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, Jason Momoa.
If you're listening.
What would you? We're getting way off topic, and I
Fraggle
don't
Rock.
care. But what do you want to do with Jason Momoa and Fraggles? What
Don't
specifically?
even-
do
what
you
are you
want?
asking me?
I'm not.
What
now,
does
hey,
he
I'm
want
not.
to do?
I'm
with
not
Jason
asking
Momoa?
what you want to do with Jason Momoa. I have a few ideas. What do you want to see Jason Momoa do with the Fraggle universe, with the Fraggle
I
characters?
feel that he
Be a
could
Murgle.
be a Murgle, or he could just be a human gardener in the gourd garden and come and tend to Marjorie.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. He's maybe he's wearing like a tank top. He's a little sweaty.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I can see that. I do like the idea of him playing a Murgle though. As a self-proclaimed Aquaman fanatic, I
Right?
like that idea very much. All right, so I'll tell
Crossover
you the
event of the year.
two celebrities who have also worked with all three. We got Neil Patrick Harris because he was on Fraggle Rock On the miniseries. And this is a deep cut, and if anyone out there would have guessed this, I am super impressed. Ziggy Marley has worked with all three, and now I'm bending the rules slightly because Ziggy Marley was on Fraggle Rock On as well. He made an appearance in like the 90s on Sesame Street, and he sings the song Love Power, which plays during the credits of Muppet Treasure Island. How about that for a deep cut?
Oh my god.
Wow.
So I think Dave Grohl wins of the three of them, but also pretty impressive. The only three.
I appreciate Ziggy like sneaking in there though.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
like with an asterisk for that Muppet Treasure Island one.
I feel like they need like their own club, like their own jacket or lapel pin or something like some.
handshake.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
Hansen EGOT.
Yeah.
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 Little statue of Jim. It's like called a Hensie.
Yeah.
Hensie, man. Okay, we got to make this happen. So we were talking a lot about Dave Grohl, but also the rest of the Foo Fighters band is all there. Pat Smear, Chris Shiflett, Nate Mendel, and Rami Jaffe. But also I think we have to mention that the drummer Taylor Hawkins is also there, who recently passed away suddenly, and this might be one of his final TV performances, which is pretty. I mean, it's sad, obviously, but it feels much more special that he got to be a part of this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Glad it was something super fun.
Yes, me too. And as Muppet fans, we all get to appreciate him for the work he did, for this one little piece of Muppet history. After the postcard, Boober, unsurprisingly, is not feeling very inspired. He says, soup isn't meaningful, that's lunch. And honestly, I kind of agree, even though soup is often a disappointing lunch. Gobo decides to cheer him up. He's going to write him a song. And he sings this like bee-ba boober, dee-dot-doot-dot-doober song.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I dig that one.
It was good. And he's like, he kind of congratulates himself like, yep, another perfect Gobo song.
Yeah.
And I love that about this version of Gobo, that he's just like, yeah, I write songs and they're all brilliant and everyone likes it. And they like me because of it.
And it looked great in every hat.
And he looks good in every hat.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, it ties nicely to that moment in episode 1 where he holds up his picture that he drew for Uncle Traveling Matt, and it's just like the stick figure thing, and Wembley's like, oh, is there anything you can't do? That Gobo is one accomplished dude.
Yeah.
It's true. And I posited the theory in an earlier podcast episode that every song Gobo writes is just a variation of the Fraggle Rock theme song, because that's the birthday song he sings for Wembley in Wembley's birthday episode. And this unfortunately kind of debunks that theory, but I don't know, maybe draft 2 it'll sound a little bit more, maybe they'll add a couple of hand claps and that'll do it.
Yeah, it's later in the series. He's branching in a new direction like the Beatles,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Boober has now 4 soup cauldrons going at once with all these different soups, and they're not tasting so great. He needs more radishes. So he goes to the pantry, and who does he see? But, well, it depends on if you're an old school Fraggle fan or a new school Fraggle fan. I've been calling him Bagoony because that's who he was on the old show, but now he's Bongo. Bagoony was originally seen in the episode The Incredible Shrinking Moki. And later the puppet was used in Muppet Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island, so you might recognize this furry bunny looking dude. But here he's Bongo. It's a totally different character, played by you, Aymee. Is that right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So how did that happen?
He shows up actually a lot throughout the series. Just he kind of like pops in, edge of frame, or he's in the background quite a bit. But that was a Johnny thing. That was just like, Aymee, do this. Like I was like,
great.
Well, okay. Which is sort of like how we got assigned things. Like, okay, I'll do it.
That was most of the casting, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, what am I doing? Okay. But yeah, then he was just like, yeah, like you figure out a voice, and okay. So it was one of those kind of situations, but it was not like you need, because this world is, I'm sure you guys have talked about it in other episodes. This world is parallel to the Fraggle Rock world, right? It's not like beginning in another timeline. It's like parallel timelines that wherever and however he existed in Fraggle Rock before, in this one, it's kind of new and isolated. So everything kind of, we could own things a little more. It wasn't quite as precious.
Right. And it also makes sense for things like, as much as I would love it if you were like, it's Bagoony, remember Bagoony? And then the 2 fans of Bagoony would be like, I do.
I remember.
But you would have to like then incorporate Bagoony's personality and history into this one moment, which is maybe not worth it, especially because like Bagoony in that old episode is like a bit of a sad sack and over emotional and has these weird magic powers. And it's like, we just need someone who's going to be eating radishes. Don't overthink it.
Right.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
in the pantry, eat a radish.
Right.
Have a line, go. Yeah.
The stunt is how to keep the radish crumble in the puppet's mouth before he speaks, and then have it
So
get
they go
all out.
Yeah.
That was literally what I was about to ask. It's like, how did the actual eating of that radish? Because it looks like there's crumbs all over his face and they're flying around while you're talking.
Preset every time. Like a solid preset. Thank you, props.
Yeah.
So I would assume by the end of the shoot, you're just like standing in a pile of fake radish crumbs.
Oh yeah, full on
Yeah.
in the hair. Like next morning, still picking them. Yeah. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
What was that made out of curiosity? Do you know? The little radish crumbs.
Yeah, it was just foam, like little pieces of foam. Yeah, I mean, it was like a little foam radish and then I think they would use that little flocking stuff on it and then paint that. And so then when they would go to crumble it, it was literally just foam and flock, the flocky fleece.
Fluffy flummy fleece.
It's television magic is what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boober, now obviously out of radishes, has to go into the Gorgs garden to get some more. It's going to be a quick and easy trip, right? No, nothing's going to go wrong. But just as he gets there, Philo and Gunge pop out of nowhere, panicked, screaming. They are begging for Boober's help and take him directly to the trash heap. This is our first shot of the trash heap of this episode. And she's sick, so she's not looking like her normal trashy self. I do want to talk a little bit. We have to get back into the plot, but before we do, let's talk about the trash heap herself. So, can each of you tell me what your responsibilities were for which part of the trash heap? It's like, Aymee, I assume that you were the mouth and the voice, right?
I was, so inside of this trash heap, she's kind of like a giant leaf tent. All right, imagine, if you will, a giant leaf tent where the top of her head is like this dome, with a pole that holds her up, right? And there's like a little trigger for her little blinky eyes, which are just two gigantic, sockets of nothingness. And then she's got a little mouth that's kind of like always just in sad, that you just sort of flap open and close this way. So you're like holding this pole and holding this flap. So I have no other arms left. So then I have my two beautiful assistants who will become who literally, I don't think that Marjorie would be a character if it wasn't for these two beautiful humans, because all I was doing is this and this and giving her a voice, and then
that's it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
no, you know what I mean?
Just that, just the face and voice.
Wrestling into a metal harness every time.
There was that.
There's a harness as well.
Block of foam. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nothing.
She's a little heavy. She's like, because like you're taking the weight of this gigantic leaf tent, right? So they gave me like one of these drum major, like, is that what that's
like a marching band.
Yeah,
harness.
And with like this little cup that you would put the pole in, and so I have to go into deep squat to kind of get her to go down. And then once I was like standing up fully, then she was like completely, she was her full size. But then, the amount of space in there was very limited. We all smelled very nice.
Yes.
and love each other dearly because of it. I mean, we were any other three humans, I don't think would have had as good of a time, but we were all just so like, we were so into it. It was just like, okay, this is gonna suck for a little bit, but we're gonna make this look really good, because we were all so close that there was no way to not understand what the other person was doing. So that kind of helped on the inside. But somebody had once, go ahead.
No, please, go ahead.
No, somebody would once tell me, "Oh yeah, it used to be a solo thing," and I'm thinking, there is no way one human could could do that. No. There's no way. I mean, unless you're like sitting on a stool with your like legs going, do the arms.
No.
Jerry Nelson had 4 arms, so he was able to do this by himself.
Well, there
is
is
a fact.
that.
Yes.
After the surgery, he was able to do a lot more.
Correct. Yes. Ingrid and Kira, so you each took 1 arm, is that right?
Yeah.
We took arms off of strangers.
No. I always ask someone I know. Ingrid was on the left and I was on the right. So we had, I think they were snowmobile gloves that we put inside our hands to fill out those fingers a little bit better. And then we kind of like, I'm going to visually demonstrate this. Great for a podcast. Like reach forward into the arm. And then we kind of would position our bodies like facing Aymee.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, I can see that.
Maximum
it worked out pretty well.
There was no room in there, you guys.
Oh yeah.
Well, because if you
friendly.
face forward, then you're facing the netting of the puppet.
Then
like
your nose is smushed up against
Right.
the puppet. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I would assume.
And then Kira and I had
Sorry, go ahead.
we had a monitor in between us,
like
down
down
low
on the
down,
floor.
so that we could see what was happening. I think we had 2 sometimes, so they'd be at the right angle so we could see them.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Aymee had another monitor kind of behind my
me.
bum.
Yeah.
I
was doing one of these.
Oh,
Like,
geez.
A little side look.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would also have to assume that when there are probably some scenes where Philo and Gunge are awfully close, maybe even like on top of the trash heap, and you have 2 more puppeteers in that puppet with you.
Yeah, leaning upon me. Like,
no.
Oh, it
Yes.
was great. It was nice.
Now
It
for
was
that
nice
one,
and
Amy, they were like, they weren't underneath with you, were they?
No.
Were they on the
but they were,
ground
like,
behind you?
They were on the ground behind me, but like upon, because they have to like make connection with the heap. So they're like, I'm gonna rest right here, and I'm like, I'm gonna hold you tight because I'm your friend. We're gonna get this shot, and I've got a drum major thing on. I can hold all the weight. Roll camera, roll, just roll.
And someone,
No, it was fun. It was
I
fun.
can't remember who mentioned in an earlier episode that you're also like up on a riser, right? To get the right height.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you literally just like 6 inches
This-
away from just making a misstep and then the whole puppet comes crashing down on the ground with you?
No. It was wide enough. So I think it was literally just a big block of styrofoam.
Yeah.
Because the set has to be raised high enough that the puppeteers who aren't inside a pile of leaves can still reach over their heads to do their performance. And so we needed to be higher so that Marjorie could rise higher. So I think the block was about, what do you think, 3 feet tall, gang?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe like 3 feet of headroom again then between us and the set.
Right.
And we just and then Marjorie would make a little dome when she was down, because she would like compress and raise, think like sort of a springy, not springy, I'm not using the right word, but she could raise and lower, obviously. And so at like a neutral seated position, we could just kind of hang out in there.
It was like a fort.
We mostly laid down. We would just like lie down. We would lie down in between.
And then like styrofoam doesn't get cold.
No. So. And then there were all these like little nuggets that looked like grape nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, do you guys have grape nuts in Canada? Or like a...
Yeah, those little brown... It was
like a granola looking.
Yeah.
Decoration on a set to like as like fake dirt.
Sure, yeah.
But it would just... But because Marjorie's kind of like made out of mesh, it would like kind of just come through. So it would like...
Rain down me, rain, rain, rain on me, rain. Yeah, it was just kind of raining down.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I also have to know about Marjorie as a character. Like, there's obviously some big changes between the old Marjorie and the new one. The most obvious, of course, is the fact that, you know, she was previously performed by Jerry Nelson, who was a male identifying person, and now, rightfully so, this female character is performed by women. What in your eyes is different or updated between the old Marjorie and your version of Marjorie?
Well, when I was listening to or watching the Fraggles to try to figure out where am I gonna place this voice, because at the very beginning Jerry had her almost like very Eastern European, like almost like this in like not really distinguishable kind of voice. But then like as the series progressed, it kind of fell into this like he fell into this groove, and I was sort of like, I kept asking questions. I was just like, well, how much of this do you want, you know? And in my head I was just trying to sort of like, I knew I could deliver like Mother Earthiness, but I didn't want to kind of skew any specific culture, you know, but because Philo and Grunge were so very distinctively, you know,
like Brooklyn or Jersey. They're Jersey.
Yeah. So they were like, yeah, she can live in that world, which I was like, okay, but you know, but in my head I'm like thinking, I'm just gonna hear it. I'm gonna hear people not like this voice and not like these choices, and you know, and I was so relieved when people were like, yeah, bring her back, you know, like I felt really honored, because it's terrifying doing a legacy character. I just need to like just flat out say that it's like, because you have this, you know, and you know, Jerry Nelson, rest in peace. Like, thank you so much for this beautiful gift of allowing me to be able to do this. But it's, you know, I can't imagine what it must be like for people doing legacy characters that are still with us, you know, like of like, oh my gosh, you know, that kind of terror that you kind of experience of wanting to just really voice match and feel match the original character. But you know, I was given a lot of notes and really tried to get her in a pocket. And in my head, you know, when I think about going into her, I think about more, she's kind of like a little bit of a Peter Griffin for me, you know, like a female Peter Griffin,
oh my gosh,
where I kind of go, but like, you know, it's not necessarily, she's not completely Peter Griffin, but you know, and then it's like every woman from New York that I've ever met, you know what I mean? Like, so, and every mother I've ever known as well, because like in the end, that's what I feel she sort of is and represents.
Yeah, I like that a lot, that she's more of a motherly character than like this like ethereal sage thing, that like she's basically made up of more magic than mother, which now it's kind of flipped where it's like, yes, there's still magic, but like you can still have a conversation with her. She's not just speaking in these weird, cliches and vague hints at, like you don't really understand what the heck she was talking about until the 22 minutes are up.
Right. She's like, oh, that's what she meant. Right.
Yeah. Even though we do get a bit of that in this episode.
Yeah.
I just realized that in the Fraggle Zone with the Fraggles, they don't have parents and children, so there aren't really any kind of mother type characters in the cast of Fraggles, and that's how Marjorie, she is like the wise mother, because we have Ma Gorg, and we the Fraggles don't, Fraggle children just kind of gamble about and like eat sticks off the floor.
Right. And as we were saying before, like in Fraggle Rock, the Fraggle characters who are supposed to be these like adults, you end up with like World's Oldest Fraggle and Icy Joe, and I guess Large Marvin is technically an adult because he's part of the Wise Council. Like these are not anyone, like it's no one with any kind of real authority, no one who actually knows anything about how the world works, no one that anyone even really kind of looks up to, except in a stature kind of way, not in a parental kind of way. So Marjorie is pretty much it. Like that is the parental character for all of the Fraggles. That's a lot of pressure for one trash heap.
Right.
Well, unfortunately for this maternal figure, she is ill. She is sick. She says, "I may be trash, but I feel like garbage," which is, I say that all the time, mostly the first half of that sentence. I like that she's got like a hot water bottle on her head, and she's got what looks like 2 tiny trash bags, I think, under her eyes. Oh,
absolutely. Little doggy
bags under her eyes.
Bags under her eyes. 2 little tiny little look.
What a great little touch. I didn't notice that until like my third viewing of this episode. I'm like, oh, that's not just leaves. There's actually little bags. What a great thing. Was there anything else that kind of indicated that she was sick physically that I maybe missed that you can think of?
Thermometer stuff.
Oh, does she have a thermometer too? Did I miss that?
Yeah, at the very beginning. Yeah. I don't know if did it make it in the cut?
It probably did, and there's just so much going on, as it always is with the trash heap.
Yeah.
I know at one point they talked about doing an extra wilted banana peel on her head. Do you know if that happened? I can't recall.
That was just supposed to like slide.
Just like even more rotted and nasty than usual.
Yeah. Lovely. I'll keep an eye out for that. We'll try to do like a side-by-side comparison of banana peels for Marjorie. She tells Boober that he is the only one who can save her. I don't know why in this moment nobody's asking why can't Philo and Gunge save her. There is an answer we'll get to eventually, but like in the moment it's like, oh, you just need to go underground, and like these guys are the same size as a Fraggle. Send one of them.
Right.
Boober does not.
But realistically, do you think Philo and Gunge have ever done anything usul in their
That's a good
lives?
question. I mean,
other than pumping up Marjorie, of course.
For her, I feel like they probably have, but it's been like simple stuff. It's been like, oh, you need me to get you an apple core. Great, I'll go find you an apple core. Great, now I'm your favorite of the day. But like,
I was just thinking of them as like hype men.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like they're not gonna like scale the mountain for her. They're not gonna return the one true ring to Mordor or whatever.
No.
They're not quite qualified.
No, exactly. We interrupt this podcast for a special postcard from our uncle traveling John Tartaglia and a Fraggle Fast Fact.
Today's Fraggle Fast Fact is, yes, you recognize that puppet, reintroducing background puppets. So when I was a kid, one of my favorite parts of watching Fraggle Rock were all of the background characters. I loved them. The ink spots, the cave creatures, even though they rarely were part of the main stories, they were part of the life of the rock, and we knew it was really important with Back to the Rock to keep that going. So we were so lucky because the Creature Shop had so many of the original background puppets in storage, and they pulled them out, and it was like Christmas morning opening these boxes and finding these beautiful background puppets that some of which hadn't been used in years and years, probably since the show wrapped in the 80s. So the Creature Shop refurbished them and rebuilt some of them, and it was so exciting on set to get to use them. So that Bagoonie you see in the background, now known as Bongo, that is the original. Those ink spots are the original. They were all refurbished, but they are the original. And then it was fun to come up with new little creatures. But that was one of the joys of the show, was keeping that idea that there was a whole world to this rock that exists beyond the main Fraggles. And you got to keep your eyes peeled. We really threw in a bunch of fun little Easter eggs for all of you out there. I had a blast, throwing Mudwell the Mud Bunny in the background, or again, Bagoonie, or whoever we could find, the Flute Bird, and all those great characters. So keep your eyes open for them. They're all there. And that's your Fraggle Fast Fact. Now back to the podcast.
So Boober is not thinking that he's the right Fraggle for the job. He suggests Gobo or Red, or maybe Wembley or Moki, maybe even Pogi, which honestly, I would have loved to have seen that episode of Pogi going on a little solo journey.
Someone needs to write a spin-off or a fan fiction version.
Pogi's big
exactly,
day.
right. Send your fan fiction to Ingrid Hansen. Marjorie tells Boober, "You must go into the trash," which is the name of this episode. And she gestures behind her to the mountain of trash, of like just this huge landfill, which I never even thought about the fact that there was more than just this little piece of Marjorie. Like, she is a lot of trash. She tells Boober she's feeling all broken up inside. She needs Boober to go in and put it all together. And there's a pizza box that opens up, and there's a tunnel inside that leads underground, which confirms my theory that the Gorgs can and do receive pizza delivery.
I mean, yeah.
Right? Where else would they have gotten the box?
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Boober gets sucked into that tunnel. He goes head first down this thing, and he falls into just this room, completely huge room full of trash. This is a really impressive set design that I can't imagine what it would have looked like in person.
It was amazing in person, and it was a real build. Like, they built that whole massive walled set. And I think we have to talk about how there was trash raining from the ceiling throughout that shot, throughout that scene.
Yeah.
And it's real trash.
They had to wear helmets.
Yeah.
We wore helmets.
They put us in helmets, and then they had all of the lovely special effects crew, all these young dudes standing behind the wall with buckets of trash, hucking it over the wall so that it would be constantly raining down on us. And so you'd be doing this scene, and you're staring at your monitor, you're focusing, and then all of a sudden, boom, something clocks you in the head. And you're just, it doesn't hurt, but it's very jarring because you don't know that it's coming. You can't see it coming. They're like big hunks of like plastic garbage and stuff, like
yeah.
sippy
What
cups
was
and
the
stuff.
garbage? Like, when you say that, because I'm assuming it wasn't like tin cans and things like that.
It
like,
was like
something a little
hard
lighter.
plastic.
Yeah, it's mostly like bowls and cups and water bottles and like things that had a little bit of weight to them, but not anything that would be super hurty. Yeah,
it never hurt, but it was just very arresting.
Yeah, startling. Yeah, and maybe not good for like performing. I have lines to say, man. Stop scaring me.
Looking over at Kanya and seeing him deeply concentrating, acting, and then just getting beamed in the head, just surprised face going, oh, and then back into the scene. Just that was one of my favorite.
That's incredible.
Moments. Yeah.
Well, before we figure out what's going on with Boober, we're going to check in with Cotterpin Doozer. She is driving around in her tiny little Doozer car, which is adorable, trying to think of ways to fix this goo problem. And she comes across the Fraggle hole leading into outer space, which is, once she goes through that thing, like, she's one of very few Fraggle Rock characters that have crossed that threshold. Matt and Gobo for sure. Maybe in the old series there was a couple other examples, but I can't think of any. She climbs the hairy mountain. Kira, I assume that was you climbing up on Sprocket's back.
Yep, that was my first day on set.
That was your first day?
Yeah, that's all that stuff with Cotterpin was, well, okay, so we shot that stuff my first day, and then we did some reshoots later in front of the blue screen, because that first day there'd been some issues with like the RC puppets and the live puppets, but I was there trying to figure out how to make Cotterpin climb Breathing Sprocket with Donna on one side and Karen on the other side, and I'm like, oh god, do a good job, please. You have to impress them, it's your first day. Yeah.
That no joke. I don't want to gloss over that. That sounds terrifying. Like, as nice as both of those humans are, they're wonderful human beings. But to be crammed between them and doing, like, in front of these very talented puppeteers and showing off your own puppetry where they're literally right next to you, that sounds terrifying.
It's intimidating. But yeah, Donna and Karen are the nicest people on the planet, so that helps.
That's good.
Yeah.
And like you said, Sprocket really looks like he's breathing, which is a nice touch.
Yeah,
So
believe Johnny was there doing like just the simple breath movement for Sprocket at the time.
Yeah. And again, like, because he's supposed to be asleep, so like to just give him a little bit of life, but also like then you're as Cotterpin on top and trying to match the rise and fall while climbing, while reciting lines. That sounds like a lot of business.
Yeah, I think Karen was on like the main body movement, and Donna was doing like the face, and I was on the hands. So trying to get that two brains, one straw thing Frank always talks about. Yeah. 2 brains, 1 straw? Sorry, that's the thing Frank Meshkalite always says, is when you're assisting someone with a puppet and there's 2 of you working on the puppet, it's 2 brains, 1 straw.
I like that.
Me too.
I'm gonna steal it. Cotterpin climbs up onto Doc's table and finds that loose screw and uses her teeny tiny drill to reinstall it. It turns out that's all you needed the whole time was a little doozer power. She says, "A place for everything and everything in its place," which is a nice little adage. And she spots Doc's blueprints for her bacteria. And conveniently, there's a lot of illustrations, so she can read the whole thing without knowing English. And she notes that this thing uses nature to heal nature, and maybe she can do the same. What an inspiration! This also harkens back to an earlier episode of Back to the Rock where Doc overhears Cotterpin coming through her Bluetooth speaker, and they kind of have this moment where they don't really get to talk to each other, but they do kind of have like this unofficial communication. And I kind of like the idea of Doc and Cotterpin as this interesting unofficial team up.
Yeah, they're both, I think, underestimated a little bit, and they have confidence in themselves, and sometimes that wavers, but yeah, they create a really nice parallel with one another.
Definitely. And like they're both tinkerers, they're both inventors.
Tinkerers, scientists, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Ladies making stuff happen.
Exactly. And hopefully maybe we'll see like a real team up between the 2 of them in season 2. Fingers crossed. Back in Trash Mountain, Boober is panicking and trying to climb out. There's a cool puppetry trick where we see him like actually scaling the side of this trash wall, and then like you see his feet dangling because he's kind of on the ceiling, and then he falls. As he's looking around, he finds Moki's old sketchbook. He finds a Fraggle pillow, a Doozer helmet, some Murgle seashells. I also have to assume there's so much stuff on the walls and just everywhere in this scene that there must be like Easter eggs, from previous episodes or just Fraggle lore that I couldn't spot just because it's just too much stuff. Boober discovers with all this stuff that the trash heap isn't just Gorg trash, it's from everyone. The Fraggles, the Murgles, the Craggles, the Doozers. The trash heap is made up of all of us, which is another episode title. Just the all of us part, not the trash heap is made up of part. And the trash heap, it's true. The trash heap is also specifically made up of the 3 of you. So we're bringing it back around. See what we did there?
Profound.
Yeah.
Nice.
Got it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fine. It's a very polite laugh for that. Okay. So meanwhile, back in Fraggle Rock, things are coming to a head. Red and Moki are fighting over a bucket. The Doozers are destroying their own constructions because the Fraggles won't eat them.
Oh yeah, that's the wrecking ball moment.
Yeah, there's
So
a
good.
cool scene with like what looks like a
you,
buff.
Ingrid? You're the big beefy
Doozer?
guy?
I'm the beefy guy, but then my favorite part was Karen Prell was voicing and manipulating the Doozer that rides the wrecking ball, like I love the music video. And the best part was when they were shooting that, we could just hear Karen's voice ringing out through this giant sound stage, and Karen was so consistent, like Doozer style, in that this character's riding a wrecking ball, and they're being excited, but they're Doozer level of excited, and the Doozers are workaholics. So it was just yay.
I forgot about that. Yay.
And then that just went on for the whole time. They were for the longest time, which Karen was just so intensely consistent. It was so funny. So funny. We're all just sitting over in the corner of the studio, in our holding area, waiting and just losing it, laughing, just yay.
That's hysterical. Now you mentioned earlier about the Fraggles, you guys creating these backstories and personalities for all these background characters. And I first of all, I have to assume that you're doing the same for the Doozers, but this one in particular, this giant strong man Doozer, there must be more to whoever they are. Like, was there a character that you had created in your own head canon?
I mean, my favorite part about that Doozer is to build him, they had to take 2 Doozer bodies, cut them in half, and MacGyver them together. That's how they built this beefcake Doozer. It's like the Frankenstein. We were joking earlier about like stealing arms off of a person so that Jerry Nelson could have 4 arms, but that's literally what they did to make
for the
beefcake Doozer. Yeah, which I mean, I love anytime I get to play characters that are like masculine characters, drag characters. That's one of my faves. Just life goals. I want to play drag characters all the time.
That's great.
Yeah.
I also like I know this wasn't your intention to give him this name, but Beefcake Doozer sounds pretty good. I like that.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's canon now. We said it on a podcast.
Boy.
The other thing that's happening here is that Pa Gorg is making Junior throw away his plants, Junior down the well and into the Fraggle Pond. And basically the sky is falling because this giant tree has just plummeted out of the sky and into the Fraggle Pond. This is our one real shot of the Gorgs in this episode, and unfortunately we don't see Ma Gorg, but forget it. We're going to talk about her anyway. So Aymee and Ingrid, the two of you teamed up to play Ma Gorg, which... I mean, we don't get a lot of her in this season at all, but what was it like kind of getting back into that character that we hadn't seen since the original series? Again, you said it's another legacy character, so that's its own challenges. This is a very big open-ended question to just talk about Ma Gorg however you'd like. So I will leave it at that and hand it off to you.
First of all, I love that Ingrid had so much experience being inside of walk-arounds altogether, and how comfortable she was in using her body. So I loved her making choices, like making big bold choices, and I could just kind of like go with. Like when we would talk a lot about what she was able to do in the body, because of course visibility, and then also just, 2 Gorgs, they would always seem to put them in very small places. So like range of movement was not always ideal. Like, what can you do? So we, just little things like that, to make her very, look as feminine as possible, because in her mind, right, she's like queen of the castle and all of that. And Ingrid was brilliant in being able to kind of bring that to life and make her as girly as possible when she's basically wearing a house made of like foam. So, but Ingrid, you talk about your
Oh, we had so much fun working together. Like Aymee and I, we just gelled, and we
Yeah.
trusted each other and we just like rolled with it together and we would communicate. And, I had Amy's voice in a little earbud in my ear, so that I could hear, because sometimes the whirring of the mechanics inside the face of the puppet can be quite loud. You can't hear very well. So, yeah, I had an earbud of Aymee in my ear, and then Aymee could also hear me. And oh yeah, it was, I love her so much.
I love you.
I always wanted to do more prop comedy too. There were a few things we did get to do, but yeah, it's like with those giant characters, you're yeah, I think it would be so much fun to get to play with her more. There's so much more we could do. We did some rehearsals where we were doing a lot of full body movement together with her and Pa, and the relationship between her and Pa, that there's still, there's still so much fire in their marriage, even though it's many years into their marriage. They're very, they go away to like Love Mountain or all these different places for like kissy time and stuff like that. So that's always so fun, is the relationship between her and Pa, and she dotes on her son. He's just the most special, amazing human in the absolute world, and no one could ever change her mind about that, yeah. But we had a lot of fun too, playing with Andy Hayward, who is in the body of Pa, and yeah, the two of them chasing each other around in circles and stuff.
That's
so
hysterical.
we hope we get to see them more. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it was a little disappointing that like we got a good amount of Junior Gorg in this season, but Pa and Ma were pretty much relegated to like sticking their head out the window in the castle, and that's it.
Yeah.
And Ma's outfit, I know that the puppet was refurbed a bit, but like it's, for the most part, it's still the old Ma Gorg puppet from the original series, right?
Yeah, and it didn't smell. I don't know how they did that. They used that puppet for 4 seasons and then stored it for 30 years, and it didn't smell. What kind of wizardry is involved in that? I don't know. It's magic.
Wow. That is magic. It's Fraggle magic. I assume that you used Gorg Vision, which for people who don't know is when there's cameras in the eyes of the puppet, and you've got a monitor right in front of your eyes, so you could kind of see from her perspective. Is that right?
Yeah, we had goggles. So inside the head, it's very tight fitting. It's a helmet that is structurally holding up the structure of the head, and then you pull down these goggles that smush right against your face, and there's little tiny VR screens in the goggles. And then there's a steel plate that's like an inch from my teeth. And yeah, and then there's a camera hidden in Ma's forehead, so you can see, but it's quite a limited amount. You can't see the floor, so you have to really train to know where your feet are going, to walk on that uneven landscape and all the rocks and the tumbles and things. The things that Ben did were amazing. Ben DeRoche playing Junior Gorg. Every day I was just blown away. He was, and he had such an amazing time doing it. He always had the biggest smile on his face.
But but also Ben had a different view, right? Can we talk about that for a second? You were able to actually physically see the floor, and what you were seeing was a camera out of your forehead, right?
Yeah.
But Ben was seeing what the camera saw. So he was getting a different feed. So like talk about danger, right? Like, and with as physical as he was, and I thought, man, all 3 of you, I thought, were just like brave beyond compare in these giant suits on this like uneven terrain, and these giant these giant feet, and doing like walking down steps. It's like, and to make it look natural, we were talking about how like in the first couple of seasons, like they would just keep some of the takes where Ma's skirt would get stuck in a door. Just keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, we're on a schedule. Yeah, gotta keep moving.
Keep it. That's what would happen. She'd get her skirt stuck in a door. We're like, oh God, I hope that doesn't happen. How do we avoid that? How do we like make sure that her whole body gets out, right? Like we're not gonna let that happen, right? But yeah, just like little things like that it's like just playing with, hooray for the technology, but also like there's the challenge of having that technology and having to learn how to almost puppeteer again, because like,
Yeah.
having the camera right in the middle of your forehead, that changes where your puppety eye focus is, right?
Yeah,
Because
for
your
sure.
where you want to do it is not where it looks technically right.
Good
So
on
we
the
were just
camera.
so we were just kind of like really communicating. Amy, am I looking? Amy, am I looking? Yeah, a little more to the right, a little more to the right.
Yeah.
Our little game would be like, yeah, just like lift up her chin a little bit more, just little things like that. So we could get the shot that we needed.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. How much did that helmet weigh with the camera and the monitor all like kind of resting on your poor neck?
Not as much as Junior's head.
Oh,
Right.
man. Yeah.
Junior's head had more servos in it because he had more jaw movement.
Right.
They
Yeah.
rebuilt his head entirely, I believe. Yeah. But it's not too bad. It's counterweighted. So there's little bags of pennies at the back of sewn into the back of Ma's neck.
Wait,
to
were they really
counterweight-
pennies?
I think it's pennies, yeah, or nickels, dimes, dollars, toonies. In Canada, here we have toonies and loonies. Those are dollars and $2 coins.
The loony has a loon on it.
Yep. But yeah, so the head is counterweighted so that it kind of balances, because there's a lot of heavier stuff in the front of the face. So to balance it, they put little bags of nickels in the back. Those were the original nickels from the original series. And they had cut them off at one point, and they said, "Do you want these put back on?" I'm like, "Yeah, put those back on." If Trish Leeper had those put on 35 years ago, they were put there for a reason.
Mhm.
Trish is a brilliant human being and an amazing performer. If she had them put there, there's a reason they're there, you know? Yeah.
Those nickels are worth probably 6.5 cents a piece by now.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
fancy.
That's right. Go up in
Those are
value.
legacy nickels. You could probably auction them on the internet and get a lot of money.
Oh, real
Right.
Gorg nickels. Yeah.
Gorg nickels.
That's amazing. Also, like, I mean, it must be frustrating where it's like, you need the counterweight, but also like, why is the solution to add more weight? Can't the solution be take some weight off?
Yeah, and I have like this, long, thin swan neck. I kept joking to all my friends that I was going to come back from Fraggle Rock with a thick neck. It was going to be like a triangle, Just like neck.
You were gonna look like that beefcake doozer by the end.
Yeah, that's my goal. Life goals. I want to be shredded like beefcake doozer.
Exactly. Back in the garbage cave with Boober, he keeps hearing in his head the voice of the trash heap saying, "Put it all together, put it all together." And so he literally puts them all together. The book, the pillow, the helmet, the seashells, just puts them together. And a giant soup pot appears. And he says, "Oh, so I'm the soup guy down here too." There's a theme here for poor Boober and his soup. And then Boober and the cauldron magically teleport back above ground in front of the trash heap, where you would think this would be what makes her feel better, but it does not. She is getting sicker and sicker by the moment. And she starts saying, "Pea soup, pea soup, pea soup." And this might be the last thing she ever says, because she then disappears into the ground. And she's compost now. And that's where the episode ends. Isn't that sad? Was there more? I'm sorry. What?
Tune in next week.
Yeah, right. How horrible would that be if the episode just ended with that?
Wait a second. That's
I
not
can't.
weird.
Heck of a cliffhanger.
I can't. Ugh, that'll be too much. Boober takes the cauldron back home, and as the trash heap told him, he starts making pea soup. He's got these little ink spot sous chefs that have little baker hats, oven mitts, and aprons, and they're adorable. I love a good ink spot appearance, and just these little guys are just cute as all heck. Did any of you perform those ink spots?
Yeah. I can't recall which one. I'm like, watching, I was like, crap, was I the ink spot pushing the pot or pulling the pot?
Right.
One
I
of
mean,
them I did.
Yeah, it all runs together in the end. But I mean, I also have to assume that for a lot of you, when you're in a scene and someone says, "Hey, we're going to throw some ink spots in here," you're like, "Oh man, give me that ink spot! Like, let me just grab one real quick before anyone can say no."
Oh yeah.
It's the dream.
But they're delicious to perform. They are they fit so nicely on your hand, and they're actually weighted. They have their like little bags of sand,
Little
and then they're like
bodies.
oh, they're so, and they're like, they just like they move so well that they're like really malleable. Like you could feel the history in those little inks, but they're like everywhere. They're just like they're little celebrities. So and then they use them so much in Fraggle as well. Like I was so happy, because they really look great. They just look really great on.
I mean, as important as it was for this series to like bring back all these interesting background characters and like we were talking about, Bagoonie or Bongo earlier, or the what can I think of what they're called? Like the Grizzard lizard character, things like that. Like it's very cool to see these characters that we've seen on the show earlier, but the most important has got to be the ink spots. Like after the Fraggles and the Doozers and the Gorgs, like the ink spots just define Fraggle Rock and the world of Fraggle Rock so well that it would have felt like something is missing, honestly, if they weren't there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Boober's soup is terrible. Pea soup was never his specialty. Worrying is his specialty. If they can make a soup out of that, then we'd be set. That's a good line. Good Boober line. I like it. The soup still needs something, but Bongo is still in the cupboard, having eaten all of the radishes. Bongo is of no help here. Sorry, Bongo. I don't know what you're doing in there, but you gotta go. Boober keeps hearing the Trash Heap's voice in his head, put it all together, and so he literally, once again, puts it all together. He mixes the Craggle soup, the Murgle soup, the Fraggle soup, the Doozer soup, and this is where we get our first big song of the episode, Put It All Together. It's an original song. And everyone's eating Boober soup, and they love it. Everyone loves this new soup that's got way too many flavors in it. I'm going to be honest. Like, that's way too much. There's no way this actually works in real life. Although, I would love to see if someone out there wants to actually make all 4 of these soups and then mix them together to see if they taste good. I would love to hear about it.
Well, they have to mix it in the right proportion, right? Because the Doozer pot was teeny weeny.
That's right.
So
Just a little bit of that baby
smidge,
corn soup.
smidge.
Yeah.
Just a niblet.
Just a niblet.
One thing I really like about this is that Boober's Volubius is glowing as he sings. We did not forget about the fact that he has a glowing Volubius from the episode The Glow earlier in the season. It's important, that's still a part of him, and it glows when he's happy. And we see he's very happy here making soup and making a difference because everyone is getting along once again, and everyone agrees that they're going to work together to solve their problems, which is a pretty good plan. Cotterpin gets them all off to a good start because she discovered that they can use the vines to reabsorb the goo in the pond. So that's one less problem they have to worry about. Good job, Cotterpin. And this is the moment where Boober realizes that the Trash Heap wasn't saying pea soup. She was saying peace soup. That was a little cryptic there, Trash Heap. You could have been
I was
little
dying. I was dying. I was so sick. I don't know what to tell you.
So it's to thank her, he's bringing her a bowl of soup. Also, maybe it'll bring her back to life. But she's already back to good health. It turns out that she was sick because the Fraggles, the Murgles, the Craggles, the Doozers were not getting along. And she is made up of everything and everyone. So therefore, when people don't get along, the Trash Heap suffers. This brings up a lot of interesting questions about what actually gives the Trash Heap life. And I don't know. There's a lot of mythology here that I don't think we're ready to unpack in this podcast episode. I'm assuming that you all have your own theories. You're welcome to share them or keep them to yourselves. But
feel like I lack the authority.
Yeah, that's fair. I bet Karen Prell knows. I bet she has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen Prell, but all the lore. She's got,
Lore queen.
Where Fraggles come from.
She knows.
That's my favorite.
Oh yeah,
she's got all the secrets.
Yeah.
As the Fraggles are leaving the Trash Heap, they spot the Gorgs fountain, and now they know where all the water is going. It's going through this unnecessary fountain. And that revelation is going to set us up for the final episode of the season, which is going to come up next week. And that's where we leave the main Fraggles But we have one more scene before we go. We are back at the Foo Fighters concert, which is a thing that I didn't think we'd be talking about in a Fraggle Rock show, but here we are. And the Foo Fighters are singing the classic Fraggle Rock song, Fraggle Rock Rock, from the original series episode, Wembley and the Gorgs. In the scene, Traveling Matt is trying to get up on stage and sing with Dave Grohl, and security keeps, kicking him out. Which this must have been a blast for them to shoot. Like, look how much fun they're having.
I know producer Hallie was really jazzed about that in particular. I know that she had a really, really fun time.
I bet. Yeah. And it looks like Dave Grohl's having a good time. And it looks like Traveling Matt's having a good time, and I'm having a good time watching it. Everyone, it's a win-win-win for all of us. And I just love the idea that there's like this real popular band who's covering a Fraggle song. And I know that years ago there was a series of Fraggle Rock albums with covers by modern artists, but it really is surprising that more musicians haven't gone back to the Fraggle catalog and covered these songs, because they're so good. And like they
Probably
hold up
have,
on
and
their
you
own.
just don't know about it.
Oh, I would know about it.
My brother used to organize raves in our hometown in the Okanagan, and he organized a Fraggle Rock themed rave.
Really?
When he was in his early 20s, and I would have been like 19 or something. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Imagine being on the dance floor, and at like 3 a.m. all the music just goes pew, and then you hear dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then everyone does the clap at the same time.
Yeah.
While raving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gotta be the best. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock. I am curious if any of you have any more stories you want to share about anything from the series, any of your experiences, anything that would be a fun podcast story.
Can I tell you, I always loved massive doozer scenes where it was like an all hands on deck. Like, because first of all, they're so tiny, right? And you have to fit that, like, all the bodies underneath very specific sections of, and they're very delicate. I don't know if this has been spoken about on this show, about how delicate those little, so, like we'd start to shoot and it would, we're all so excited to be doozers. And then something like somebody's little hat would fall off and you're like, ah! So it's like just, just getting through a doozer scene just felt like such an epic win. You know what I mean? But I loved being part of it, because it was just like everybody's focused energy was on doing their one little doozer, just like perfectly right, just for like that one hot like millisecond that it was going to appear on the screen. It felt so, I can't even explain it. Like that felt like Fraggle Rock to me. Like everybody just like doing their absolute best for this thing that they loved so very much, and it was just like all those bodies underneath there, just like, I'm a little doozer. It was like, yeah, I loved it.
One of my favorite moments was Amy and Allie under a rock. Like, I also love the side characters. Just when they're animating a weird little bug that's stuck on a wall,
Mm-hmm.
Like they're my favorite moment. I actually have a video of this. It's Amy and Allie Eisner under a hill, and we've got these two legacy puppets that are these weird little like tubes with little faces that just poke out the top and back down. They're almost like like a little barnacle or like a little thing.
Like the little tube worms.
Yeah, little tube worms.
Kind of
on the
like
bottom
two
of the
little
ocean.
eyes, or maybe they don't even have eyes. I think that they just had like two little like antenna that you could like, the antenna were like where they were supposed to be looking. But yeah, it would just
It's
go
familiar.
up.
I think that comes up in the season finale, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, spoiler alert. Okay.
Oh, get ready. I could be wrong. I'm going off a fuzzy memory. Sorry, continue. Yes.
Well, I just have this videos of the two of them sitting under the guard, and all the puppet does is go up, down, up, down, up, down. It's the simplest puppet, but you're having so much fun. The two of you are hey, 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 just making them go in unison, and then in opposition, like pistons, and then side like in unison but faster. It's like some of the simplest puppets bring me so much joy, and I love all those weird little background fart faces that are just, they're there for half a second and the camera pans past them, but for that half a second you're that bug on that wall, or you're that little worm in that corner going whew, whew, whew,
I had to do that with my mom over Zoom. Be like, okay, we're watching the first episode. Okay, you see that one in the corner? That's me. And then those two crabs, those are me.
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah, the little ones. I always call it Fat Bird.
Yeah, the squishy bird. Like
the squishy bird. It's got like 2 little feathers on the top of its head and sleepy eyes.
Yeah.
And in every scene it's in, it's pulling focus, and it's funny because you can just squish it down really small and make it fall asleep into itself and kind of like bounce it. At one point I like roll it into a crevice in a rock and it gets stuck. Like,
so good.
That's adorable.
They've been those legacy puppets that are carried over from the original series are all like worked in, they've been well loved, they've been played with a lot, so they're just so easy to like do fun stuff with. It's such a treat.
Yeah. I have to like, I loved performing any of the puppets, but my like super, super epic moment was playing that freaking drummer puppet with Pete.
Yes.
Because, oh my God, because I had to climb into this really small, narrow tower. There were 2 prop guys behind me with like confetti and like air blowers. And then Pete, who's like an actual drummer, was like doing the hands. So all I had to do is just like be this rock star doozer and just keep like, make it look like he was kind of keeping time. But Peter was like murdering it on those drums. And it was just like, it looked so good, like when all that confetti blew out, and oh God, it was.
I cheered every time.
It was
like
so
every time we did that
fun.
take, I cheered, and watching it at home, I was like, yeah!
Oh,
it
yeah.
was such an awesome moment.
Yeah, talk about doing drag, right? Because like that's total male identifying Fraggle, I guess. With those glasses, and yeah, that was so fun. That was. Go ahead.
One of my favorites, thinking the musicians, was you were playing the bass player in the band.
Cruel.
And Ellis was doing, it was
my arms,
assisting you doing your arms. And so in order to like fit everybody into that configuration, Ellis's solution was to shove his own head inside the body of the puppet.
Yep. Yes.
So that he was
he was like connected to my forearm.
Yeah.
You okay, Ellis? Yeah, I'm great.
So he couldn't see, but he didn't need to see because he's playing along with the music and in time with the music. And so he just keep pulling his head out of the puppet's torso and then back into this like fleecy, furry, like full body hat. It was so good.
Sometimes you just gotta wear the puppet as a hat.
Sometimes you do.
Just
but
happens.
But can I say, I loved how good natured and kind everybody was in the show. Do you know what I mean? I think that really. It really showed up on film, that we were all actually having a really good time shooting it, and we liked hanging around each other, and we liked creating this weird little world, and we were encouraged to keep them alive back there, whatever that meant. I remember one of the first days, Ingrid, you doing exercises.
Oh my God, the calisthenics up on the second level.
In the background, and I'm like, Ingrid Hansen, I am so in love with you right now. Just like full on, just calisthenics. That's what her Fraggle needed to do that day, that morning.
The thing was that when you're stuck up on the second levels, sometimes you're there with a buddy, there's 2 puppets, sometimes you have a prop like a gourd or some sticks to chew on. But I was up there, I was not near anybody who my puppet could chat to. I didn't have any props to interact with, and the director gave me specific feedback. He's like, hey, purple guy up there, can you just be more active? And I was like, active
on it,
get a workout in.
I'm just gonna exercise. Yeah,
that's what that means. That's being active.
Burpees.
Full choices.
I've been trying, as I'm now watching these episodes for like the 3rd or 4th time, trying to look a little bit more at what's going on in the background, because I have to assume that what you just described is happening all the time. And the only one that I've really noticed so far, and I mentioned this on an earlier episode, I think it was the episode where we meet the Kraggles, or when the Kraggles come back to Fraggle Rock with everyone else, and there's a Craggle like with a long straw drinking out of the Fraggle pond while like other Fraggles are in the pond. And I'm like, someone made that decision and they just went with it thinking no one's going to notice.
Nobody will ever see this.
Nope. And here
Don't
I
tell me
am.
to stop if it's wrong, right? Don't tell me to stop. Yeah.
I think that might have been Kanya. I have a memory of Kanya with a straw, but I don't know. He's a brilliant.
Honestly,
what did you say earlier?
Series is worth another watch.
2 Puppeteers, 1 straw. What was that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, 2 brains, 1 straw.
2 brains, 1 straw.
One Craggle, 1 pond.
That's right.
1 extra long straw.
It all comes back around. Well, the 3 of you have done just a fantastic job being different parts of trash heaps and Gorgs and doozers and background characters and Fraggles and Craggles and Murgles and etc. I thank all 3 of you so much for bringing that bit of magic to Fraggle Rock and doing such an amazing job on Back to the Rock. And I'm really, really hoping that we get to see more of all of your work on more Fraggle Rock in the future. So fingers crossed for that. So Aymee Garcia, Ingrid Hansen, Kira Hall, thank you all so much for being here. This was a real treat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and for everyone listening, that brings us to the end of another Fraggle Talk podcast. But stay tuned as Tough Pig's own Beth Cook talks more about the themes of this episode in our Dive Deeper segment coming up right now.
Welcome to Dig Deeper. This is Beth Cook, and I am joined once again by executive producer and president of television at the Jim Henson Company, Hallie Stanford.
I'm just stirring up a pot of pea soup. Ooh, yummy, yummy.
It honestly sounds really good. I want to try and make it.
You know what? I actually do too. Except that if I recall, I think it's like kind of bluish greenish. So I don't know. I don't know what's in there. I don't know what's in that soup. Love. I'll tell you what's in that soup. Love and kindness and teamwork. That's what's in it.
I love any time we get Marjorie lore and find out more about who she is and how she works.
Yeah. Well, that was that's a big world building moment. And again, one of the things that we got to do, in this reboot of Fraggle Rock is like, let's just like play with the lore of Marjorie and like, let's see what she's really made up of, and let's go down into that trash heap. And it's a whole like world. And so we thought that was really fun. And then when you get down there, you realize, oh, she's made up of everything. She's made up of Doozer and Silly Creature and Fraggle and all these different cultures that are like kind of their discards are there. And that's what makes her up. And she is sick. She's sick because everybody's not connecting and thriving. And so she's not as well. And it's just an incredible metaphor, right? Like,
absolutely.
She's so great. She's so great, the trash heap. You can just keep, if you want to talk about going real deep dive, you can really deep dive into what she's all about, why she was created originally for the show, what she represents. But because your trash are the things you don't want, but says a lot about you and has a lot of wisdom, has a lot to say. And also, kind of fertilizes the earth as well. The good trash, not the bad trash.
The compost.
Landfill. Yeah.
I love that she's what connects all of these cultures, even
exactly
if they're conflicting with each other, even if they don't know that each other exist.
Yeah.
And that if their relationships with each other are unhealthy, then she becomes unhealthy.
That's right. And you know what? If you think about all the creatures on this planet that we don't know or we're not thinking about right now, there's so many of them. Like, how can I, a child, be thinking at this moment about that jellyfish over there, that dog over there, that person in that state all at once? It's hard to imagine that. But yet the planet Earth is being affected by all of those things all at once. And big impacts that we have do affect all of those different creatures at once. And being able to communicate and connect and care, right, and give back is what is going to create a thriving world. And that's a really heavy, deep message, but that's exactly what the message is of this episode. And it just so happens that we get to have our chef
Yes.
Put it all together in a lovely soup.
I really appreciated that he started out the episode wanting to do something more important and not just be the guy who's making soup.
That's
and
right.
then he learns that that thing that he's doing is actually really important.
It's really important. It's a very important message to kids and families too, because it's saying everybody counts, every voice counts. Think about us, all of us in the pandemic. Suddenly, the people that are actually going to the grocery store to check you out and to stock those shelves became the essential workers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your perception of what people do and what they're contributing to the world completely shifted. How about teachers? Finally, the recognition that they deserve, getting on Zoom with all their children and just figuring it out, putting it all together. And I think that, you can see this is true for everyone, that everyone matters, that every little thing matters, and your contribution can count. And in this case with Boober, it really counts because he really figures out how to bring them all together and takes the journey inside Marjorie to discover what's really making her sick.
Fraggle Talk, the unofficial Fraggle Rock podcast, is brought to you by toughpigs.com. Produced, written, and hosted by Joe Hennis. Fraggle Fast Fact segment presented by special guest John Tartaglia. Dig Deeper segment hosted by Beth Cook with special guest Hallie Stanford. Fraggle Talk art by Dave Haltine Jr. The Fraggle Rock mark and logo, characters, and elements are trademarks of the Jim Henson Company, all rights reserved. Fraggle Rock theme song, written by Philip Balsam and Dennis Lee, is used with permission. Special thanks to the Jim Henson Company, Apple TV Plus, and the entire Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock family. For more from Tough Pigs, please find us at Tough Pigs on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time down at Fraggle Talk.